I cut this madrone tree because it was shading the spot where I want to put my solar panels. Today we're going to put these logs on the mill, cut them open, see what's inside. Yeah, I think we can all predict what's going to be inside. Madrone wood is going to be inside, but we'll get to see what that madrone wood looks like. We skipped fall again this year. It just went summer the whole way through until about a week ago it gave fall a miss, went straight on to winter. Been getting a lot of rain the last few days. The pith is way off center. The bottom of the log's pretty straight, but the top of it has this swoop. We'll cut these hooks off, so we'll go down pretty deep on the top cuts. Plus there's a scar right here. I'll end up having to cut off a lot of this crooked butt swell here. I haven't used this mill all summer, now I can't find the cone that goes on here. Makes a better edge for poking into the log. It's usually laying down here. I wonder if a bear came and ate it. Ah, there it is. First cut, a little bit plain, mostly sapwood. That's where that scar was. Let's look at the second layer. Smooth. Uh-oh. We have new inspectors today. They are not saying much, but I don't think they're real happy about this situation. Got another big swoop right here. We're gonna have to cut down fairly deep. Gonna have to cut down fairly deep. We're gonna have to cut down fairly deep to get below that swoop. This is what we got out of that log. I cut it to 1.5 inches, Madrone can warp and twist a lot as it dries. I cut it to 1.5 inches. If it was to be planed down after it dries, maybe you could get 1 inch or 3/4 inch of straight wood out of it, if it doesn't warp too much. Madrone is a broadleaf evergreen. A lot of people are confused about the difference between an evergreen, a deciduous, broadleaf, conifer. I made a video a while back explaining the difference between all those. If I remember, I'll put a link to that in the description. A lot of people think conifer equals evergreen, but no, this broadleaf tree is also an evergreen because it keeps its leaves year-round. Madrone is a very hard, dense wood. It cuts like butter when it's green, but it gets hard when it dries. It makes beautiful wood. It will dry to a different color than this. It'll probably have more browns and grays in it. One of the biggest problems with madrone is it's not a very stable wood, and it can move a lot after it dries. Some people steam it and boil it to dry it. I don't have the facilities for that. Could be fun to make something and try that sometime though. This stuff is so full of water, I don't know if doing the water test will make a difference or not. You may have noticed the water coming out in front of the blade. This madrone doesn't have as much color as some do, but still some pretty wood. This small log is hardly worth milling, but since it's here, might as well. Otherwise, I just cut it into firewood. One of the last things I need here is more firewood. It does have this scar in it, which could make for some colorful wood around it. These ones have a little bit more color in them. Some madrone trees can have a lot more of this kind of color in them, especially the bigger, older trees. I cut some madrone lumber a year ago, or less than a year ago. It's stacked up down there where I stacked it to dry it. We can go take a sneak peek look at it, see how it's doing. It's stacked and stickered or stackered on the bottom of my mobile lumber rack. I still have it weighed down with this fir and pine. This is the black oak we cut. Some of them are cupped, but most of them don't look too bad. This is the madrone. They did warp and move some, but not as bad as I thought they might. They didn't turn into pretzels. This is the other end. I put anchor seal on the ends of those and the oak. This is the oak. California black oak, even though it's in Oregon. Oregon and California do share oak reciprocity. We have their California black oak, they have our Oregon white oak. After the long hot summer we had, everything on here should be dried. One of these days I will unload all this. We can see how the madrone turned out. I don't know if we take the weight off, if it will spring into a more bent condition, or if it's just going to be like that. That was a weird way to say that. This is one of the black oak boards. This was a piece of sapwood. Didn't get stickered because it was already bent. Rocking chair stock, I suppose. Or more likely, firewood. I thought about milling up this crotch piece. I cut it off the log because it made the log too crooked and too tapered. I've seen some really nice crotch wood in Madrone. I could mill it by itself, but it's too short to fit in between log stops, not log stocks, log stops and rails. I could probably figure out a way to do it, but it's probably more trouble than it's worth. At least that's my opinion at the moment. Maybe that'll change. Well, that's all I have for you today. I've been told my video endings can be a little bit abrupt. So let's work on that. Let's try this one. Later.